Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Brent and Friends, Nonsense and Trends with my business partner here, Jim Plemons. And today we're actually going to be talking about health maintenance organizations, HMOs.
Hey, I heard that those sucked.
Yeah, I heard the same thing. I heard they suck too. We're actually going to be talking about it, health maintenance organizations and why they suck so bad. Stay tuned. Well, we are back. We're talking about HMOs, and we're talking about why HMOs suck so bad.
Yeah. I think a lot of people think HMOs suck, and there's a lot of reasons why they might think that. They got a bad reputation out there.
Well, I actually think that if we were to rewind the clock 20 or 30 years, I think a lot of people have actually a good reason to think HMOs suck.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they did. They did. And I guess in some cases they still do, but for the most part, they're a lot better than people think.
Well, I agree 150%. And I actually think that what I would like to make sure we uncover is that HMOs, I don't think inherently suck. I mean, for anybody who's watched my show, they know that I am hardcore unbiased when it comes to ultimately anything. One of the things that I think sucks the most is the idea of saying something inherently sucks. Like something is inherently bad. Something's always bad. It's always bad. There are people who say HMOs are always bad, right?
Right.
We had my show about why no one buys term life insurance, and we talked about term life insurance and permanent life insurance, and everybody loved that one, right?
Right.
I mean, everybody loved my opinion on that, but my opinion was permanent life insurance is not always bad, and people who do say permanent life insurance is always bad, you kind of have to wonder if they actually have the right if your best interest in mind, right?
Yeah, if you say something is always bad, there's usually a reason why you're saying it's always bad. Like you have some sort of alternate agenda, possibly.
I think that a lot of times, yes. I mean, and we're talking insurance products, folks. We're not talking there are obviously things in this world that are always inherently bad. Okay, like coronavirus it sucks and it's inherently bad.
Right.
It's not a good thing, of course, right? So there are things that I think fall into, that can always inherently be bad. But when it comes to financial products or insurance products, I just don't think that there's anything that is always inherently bad. And I don't think HMOs, at least anymore, are inherently bad. And I don't think that HMOs were ever always bad. I think that there was just a vast majority of them that were not working well for people because of the way they were structured. And then, the government came in and put a lot of big regulations on HMOs, told them, hey, you can't do that. I like to use the example, you got people who are walking into the hospital and their head had fallen off and they were like, hey, my head fell off. Can I have someone sew this back on? And, basically the emergency room would kind of balance their head back on and they'd be, okay, you're going to go.
They have to manage the care somehow to manage the costs.
Exactly.
That's what it's about. It's about managing the cost.
Well, right. It is. It's about managing costs. And that's the thing with HMOs is HMOs have come a long way from being this company that just manages costs by saying, okay, well, we were always providing people way more care than what was necessary. So let's just cut down the care all the time and hopefully we'll manage costs. Well, that didn't work very well.
I think what people get mad about is they feel like the insurance company is managing their healthcare and not their doctor.
Bingo. I mean,
they go to the doctor. The doctor says, you need to do this. You need to run this test. And the insurance company says, no, we don't think so.
Exactly. I agree 100%. I absolutely agree. And I think one of the biggest things that we talk about this in our seminars a lot, that we educate our clients on things like why HMOs work the way they work, star ratings. And actually, one of my biggest spiels with my clients is when I'm talking to people about Medicare supplements and we'll say, hey, look, statistics are statistics and you know how statistics work. I mean, 80% of them are garbage, right? Joke, badoom. But anyways, but the idea is that as far as statistics are concerned, as far as Medicare and Social Security is concerned, people on average are getting healthier faster on HMOs and Medicare Advantage plans than they are on Medicare supplements. And there are reasons why, because Medicare Advantage plans are now regulated with oversight from Medicare in a way where I tell the story where, like, let's say you have a doctor and you're diabetic, right? And you go into your doctor, and with these HMO plans, they are under huge scrutiny with Medicare, right? And this is HMOs and how they exist now today. There's a lot of scrutiny coming down on those HMOs from Medicare, and Medicare wants to make sure that these HMOs are managing care.
Right. They're putting managed care back into managed care.
Bingo, right? And so if you were to go into a doctor and the doctor was to say, hey, you know, Jim, how's your diabetes doing? And you were to go, oh, my diabetes is great, doc. Actually, matter of fact, I've lost 10 pounds. I'm going on a 3-mile walk every single day. I feel better than I've ever felt. I'm taking my vitamins. I'm eating an apple every day. Doc, I got to tell you, I'm feeling better than I've ever felt before in my entire life. I just feel so great. Thank you for everything you've done. I'm checking my blood sugar every day. Everything seems great. I couldn't be happier, doc. And your doc goes, wow, that's actually really great news. Cool. And he sends you on your way, right?
Right.
Well, your Medicare Advantage plan is going to make a phone call to your doctor here pretty soon, and they're going to go, so let me get this straight. You had a patient in your office. This patient is diabetic, right?
Right.
And you didn't check their A1C while they were there.
Right.
And your doctor is going to go, well, yeah, but he's lost 10 pounds and he's walking 3 miles a day and he's eating an apple every day. Everything's great, right?
And some of these HMOs today are specifically geared towards people with chronic conditions like that, like
right,
diabetes.
Exactly. What that HMO is going to say to that person or that physician in that particular situation is, we don't care how healthy the patient is. They have diabetes. You're supposed to be managing their care. Who's the doctor here, the patient or you? You're taking the patient's word for it, but they don't have medical training. So you need to be making sure that, yeah, they're telling you they feel good, but people can feel good but not be healthy inside all the time. So why didn't you check their A1C? That's one check mark, doctor. 1 point. Right. Okay, you got 3 strikes and you're out.
Do you think doctors are altering their care because they're afraid of what the insurance company might say?
Absolutely.
Whether they'll approve the treatment or approve the test?
I think yes, but I don't think that it's exactly that simple.
Yeah.
So I think that there are a lot of doctors out there that were just trigger happy with running tests that were unnecessary. And I think the insurance companies are sniffing that out too.
Sure.
And the HMOs are doing a very good job of making sure that tests that are unnecessary are not being done. But that's, I think, where people's fear was that they were having maybe care that could have saved their life or tests or treatment that could have saved their life that was being denied because the insurance companies were saying it was unnecessary.
Right.
But what's happening now is almost the reverse effect, where these HMOs are being required by Medicare to oversee the doctors, and they're saying, wait a second, you didn't run this test. You should have run this test. You are going to allow your patients to get sick if you don't run these tests. So it's better to be safe than sorry, right? So you need to be running these tests. You need to be taking these steps, doing these measures to making sure that the person is getting healthier and getting sicker, because now HMOs, how are they paid? They're paid on a reimbursement rate from Medicare, right? So Medicare funnels money down to these Medicare Advantage plans based on how sick or how healthy their members are. And then the Medicare Advantage plans pay the doctors based on how well the care is that the doctors are providing to the members. If the care stinks, the pay stinks.
Right.
The care is good, the pay is good. Right?
Yeah. So it's no longer driven by how many tests they run or how many office visits they can clock in the month. It's the health of the patient.
Bingo, right?
And when you change the focus to the health of the patient, then the HMOs stop sucking quite so bad.
Exactly. But here's the point. Here's one of the big driving points, in my opinion, is, do our clients know that? I think at the Turning 65 Advisor, I think our clients know that, because we spend a lot of time talking about this.
Right.
But if you're an agent out there and if your clients don't know this, I mean, hey, listen, I mean, there are a lot of people in this business who focus primarily on selling Medicare supplements. That's fine. I mean, no qualm against it. But I mean, I've seen
freedom that the supplement provides. It's nice. It's easy to sell them.
But there is no accountability.
You say no network, no nothing. You just go out, see whatever doctor you want to see. That's very appealing to somebody that's looking for an insurance policy.
Well, right. But with Medicare supplements, there is no accountability to the physician, with the exception of,
if you don't go to the doctor, nobody cares.
There's the board of medicine, of the oath that the doctor took in their conscience.
Right.
That's it.
Yep.
The insurance companies aren't going to push back on the doctor because they're not running tests.
No.
With HMOs, they have to. right?
Right.
And so then there's a negative on everything. Then people are going to start saying, well, I know how it works. They just want to poke and prod me and run all these tests and rack up all these bills. And it's like, well, wait, I mean, there is a happy balance and a happy medium that does need to be found. And so if you're not helping your clients understand, again, I don't think HMOs are inherently bad, but guess what? I don't think that they're always inherently good.
No. I think a lot of the problem people had with HMOs is that, they hear that the word network, in-network, and pre-approvals, pre-authorizations, those are things that scare people away from HMOs. They feel like that's what they don't like about them. They want that freedom. But what comes with that extra little bit of work they have to do is that doctor becomes more involved in their care and they manage their care better.
And the doctor becomes accountable.
Right.
Now.
Accountable.
And it didn't used to be that way, right? Before, the doctors were accountable to the people who owned the networks like Banner, right? They had...
The networks are a lot more robust than people think, too.
They are,
yeah.
but their boss wasn't the insurance company anymore, or like it is now. Their boss was the person who owns the medical group. You need to get people in and get people out as fast as you can. We need to make our buck and we need to turn and burn.
Right.
And I think people think that that's the way it goes now. And there's that old school mentality of, hey, remember when doctors used to come to our home and the doctor knew your name and knew your family and knew your dog's name and spent extra time with you. And that's the thing is that's actually achievable now with the way care is going based on capitative rates and the doctor's bonuses from the insurance companies coming to them. Listen, with most physicians anymore, with Medicare Advantage plans and HMOs, doctors would go dead broke and they wouldn't be able to operate their business if they didn't get bonuses from the insurance companies. Now,
and those bonuses are driven by patient health.
Right? Those bonuses are driven by patient health. The healthier your patients are, the more your bonuses are.
Right.
The better your stats as far as the care that you're providing your patients will give you bonuses, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
And with Medicare, star ratings tie into that.
Medicare star ratings tie into that.
Exactly.
So I think that it's really important to just understand that an HMO is not necessarily right for everybody. If you get that client that says, hey, look, I travel around the country a lot and I have doctors in that state that I want to be able to see and doctors there that I want to be able to see. And that's kind of rare anymore.
Right.
Most HMOs, people actually think, oh my gosh, one of the biggest flukes we get from HMOs, or one of the biggest misconceptions rather that we get from people who don't like HMOs, is if I land in California and I land in a hospital, I don't want to get denied care.
Right. Well, with HMOs, the urgent care and emergency care is covered nationwide. You don't have to stay within network for those things. And there are some HMOs that the networks are nationwide.
Yeah. I mean, some of
there's a carrier right here in Arizona that we work with.
Matter of fact, there's two, Aetna and Bright Health.
Right.
And United Healthcare kind of has a little shifty system that, like, they've got their
passport,
right, that allows you to kind of take advantage of some areas. And there are some areas where passport is off limits and some areas where it's not, and you can activate it, and you have to kind of go through some steps. But companies like Bright Health, they have a network where if you're in any area where Bright Health has a plan and they have a network in that area, you could utilize those doctors there as if you're in network like the HMO. And Aetna has a plan just like that too, and United Healthcare in some respects too. And it's becoming more of a popular thing, I think.
Yeah. Well, I actually have, and you're familiar with this client. He's in Mojave County, and he's in need of a hip replacement.
Yeah.
And he's not happy with the care he's getting in Kingman.
Right.
So he's looking for some options outside of Kingman. And there actually happens to be doctors in Vegas that he can go see, and also in Flagstaff.
Right.
So we've looked those up for him. He seems pretty happy to take advantage of that.
Well, right. I mean, I have a lot of really good friends. Let's just talk about this for the way it is. I mean, I think transparency is important. And so I have some good friends over at the insurance company Humana.
Right.
Love those guys. I mean, I've known them for a long time. I've been selling their plans for 14 years now, and so I like their plans. And when I'm in the county of Mojave County, for those Arizona-based listeners, when you're in Kingman and Bullhead City and Lake Havasu, right, or Golden Valley or whatever, the fact of the matter is this: people in that area are just fed up with the care in Kingman.
Right.
Right. And yes, like there are plans available, like the Humana plan, that will allow you to go from Kingman to Flagstaff or to Phoenix or to a different, area. And then they have their PPO. But, I'm not saying that Aetna's plan in Kingman is a better plan than Humana's plan. I'm not. But when I'm in a room full of people and I say, just really quickly, who wants to go to Vegas? And everyone raises their hand.
Right.
It becomes really difficult to not talk to people about the Aetna plan. And I don't want to say, hey, we're going to steer them in that direction.
And there's some great doctors in Kingman. The problem is, once they become a great doctor and the word gets out that, hey, there's a great doctor in Kingman, there's a 3-month wait to see him.
Because they're far and few between.
Right.
And I think I made the example of like, you got this woman and she's in a grocery store and she's on the phone with her daughter and she's like, oh yeah, I really like this doctor. And she feels a tap on her shoulder and there's a woman, you like your doctor? Your doctor here in Kingman? What's your doctor's name? You like your doctor? What's your doctor's name? Yep. Because they're so desperate to find good care there. And so, and a lot of the doctors go to Kingman for training and then they're out and they go somewhere else. So, you've got a lot of people that say, look, a PPO is not suitable for me. It's too expensive. The copays are too high. The premium is too high. The costs are I don't like the way the plan is built as far as costs, but it would let me go to Vegas. I'm torn. And that's when someone says, hey, I wish there was an HMO that gave me the freedom to go across state lines and get care somewhere else.
These new HMOs are starting to incorporate that in.
Yeah.
They realize that that's their Achilles heel, that network restriction. So they've decided, hey, we're going to put this thing on a nationwide network and let people have a little more freedom.
Yeah.
And then, wow, it's kind of like the best of both worlds.
It is.
We keep costs contained and give them the freedom to see a doctor in other counties. It's
and we hold the doctors accountable to making sure that they're actually going to get the care that they need. We actually had a client of ours that called us multiple times throughout the last week, and he was expressing frustrations because he said, well, I've got this pain in my leg and I've got these doctors that are just wanting to admit me into the hospital and run all these tests and drive up the cost for the insurance companies. And I don't want it. And I'm like, wait a second. This isn't the 80s anymore.
Right. He thought their attempt to help him was just an attempt to make money.
Right. And then lo and behold, a week and a half later, after him refusing care, it turned out that he had very serious blood clots in his leg and he almost died.
Wow.
So, so it's like, look, anymore, there are obviously bad eggs, right? Like doctors aren't inherently bad, but there are some doctors out there who are.
There's always bad eggs in every profession.
But if you've got a hospital or a doctor or someone who's insisting that you get a certain level of care or treatment or tests, you may not believe in the philosophy of that care, of that treatment, of that test. That's fine. But if you've got doctors or medical professionals that are insisting on that care, it is likely not because that doctor is going to get away with overcharging, overbilling. Most insurance companies aren't going to let the doctors get away with that.
Not anymore.
And they're going to be holding the doctors accountable to making sure that they are prescribing the right level of care.
Right.
Even, and a lot of times, guess what? That right level of care might seem like more care than you need. But the insurance company still wants that care to be provided, and they're okay with flipping the bill for it.
Right.
So, we'll probably get a lot of people who say, well, what about this instance with HMOs? And what about this instance with HMOs? Remember, I'm not saying that HMOs are always inherently good. I'm not.
Right.
But what I'm saying is HMOs back in the 80s, I would say, by a general rule,
they earned their bad reputation.
They kind of sucked then, right?
Yeah.
But they just don't inherently suck anymore. They're actually really, really good plans. And if you don't want one, that's great. We've got a lot of other plans that are not HMOs.
And I think that brings us back to educating our clients, like we talked about in the beginning. I mean, if we have to do a better job of educating our clients on the benefits of the HMO now and how much they've improved since the 80s.
Right.
And to try to dispel that myth that they suck.
Right. They don't suck. HMOs don't suck. They just might suck for you.
For some people. They're a tool.
Yeah, exactly. What was the example of the drill bit?
I forget who said it, but they said, who wants to buy a drill bit? Nobody. What you want is to drill a hole.
Right.
The drill bit's just the tool that you have to go buy to drill your hole.
People want a hole. They don't want a drill bit. They want a hole.
And you know how many drill bits are sold every year at Home Depot?
Right. Because it's
not because anybody wants a drill bit.
No, it's because they want a hole.
That's right.
So I guess that's pretty much it. I mean, we don't need to continue to serenade this sucker. I mean, HMOs, why do HMOs suck? They don't really. They just, you either don't understand them or you do understand them and they're just not right for you.
Exactly.
And that's okay. We are completely good with the idea that an HMO might not be for you.
Right.
We have lots of clients on Medicare Supplements, clients on Original Medicare, clients on PPOs. An HMO might not be for you, but they don't just flat out suck. It's just not.
The vast majority of the people we meet with are on HMOs, and once they figure out that it's not as bad as they thought, it usually works for them.
I guess that's it. So we will conclude with that. HMOs don't inherently stink. Just make sure that if you are an agent out there, you're properly educating your clients. And if you are someone who is on Medicare and you feel like you could use a little bit more education, call us, reach out to us, 623-333 or 777-33. What is
15.
it? 3315.
623-777-3315.
It's a new phone number, as I had said last time, so I'm still trying to remember.
Or we can go to www.attorney65advisor.com.
Have a nice day, guys.
Thanks.